Welcome back. This is Roger Carter. I'm here to talk about another variation of the blue cheese. This one is called the blue cheese paradiddle. Very similar to, I guess, what you'd call a cheese paradiddle, in that we're taking a paradiddle, right, left, right, right, and then we're going to cheese that first note. But here we're going to put the blue cheese instead of the standard cheese. So we have the paradiddle. All right, normally for a cheese paradiddle, I would just simply cheese that first note. Here I'm going to do the blue cheese on the first note. And just to recap, if you haven't seen the earlier video, that is where I invert the sticking. Instead of right, right, left, I make it right, left, left. And I also move the flam. Instead of being on the first note, is on the second note. Da-cha-da, da-da, da-cha-da, da-da. So we have accent. Grace note is right there. So we have blue cheese and then diddle. As with the other rudiments in this series, some of the challenges present themselves as trying to get that grace note after the attack is one of the hardest things, because you play your first note here and then you have to squeeze, drop that grace note. So normally when we play a double stroke, all of our instructors tell us to work on the second note being just as loud as the first. Well, not the case with this rudiment. You want to bring it much further down so that way you can be ready to play as a grace note. And it has some interesting technique too, because you have a very tight diddle followed by a very open diddle. So if I play just the right hand on the drum, left hand on the rim, and the challenge is to get that grace note very, very tight. We want it as tight as possible without becoming a double stop. So it's not exactly the same time, but it is just a microsecond before the primary note. You don't want to pop that note down there. Still needs to be a flat. And you might try just the blue cheese on the right, just to get that motion. They're double strokes. Put that in the paradiddle form. Notice when I bring it down like that, you don't want to hold on really, really tight. You want to use the same technique that we're going to use when it's fast. So a little bit higher and louder grace notes and taps. And again, just to prepare you for the techniques that are required when it's quick. They really have a unique look and sound to them. So now I'll do an exercise that will demonstrate this paradiddle rudiment here. I'm going to go back and forth between some blue cheese, which are a grouping of 3, and the blue cheese paradiddles, which are a grouping of 4. So you'll hear the note value speed up. I'm going to go from triplets da, 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 to 16 notes da, 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 while putting that blue cheese on the first note. A little slower. faster. I can also play it where the note value doesn't change, and I'm not necessarily going from triplets to 16th notes, but I'll just keep a consistent underlying ostinato of notes, and I'll just do 3 and then 5. Same exercise, but I'm not going to modulate between triplets and 16ths this time. A little faster. And as with all of the hybrid rudiments, half the fun is just coming up with your own variations, accent patterns, grid it, put in different patterns and whatnot. For instance, I could add another hand to make it into a 5-lit. So instead of paradiddle, I can put 3 following notes. Then I have it into a 5-lit. So the possibilities are really endless when you talk about this technique, because there's a lot of pre-existing rudiments that you can substitute your cheese with the blue cheese. So there's a lot of potential ideas that you could come up with. I'm really looking forward to seeing what other people come up with. We're going to do some more videos in this sequence too. Another one called the inverted cheese is going to be coming up soon, and that's a pretty challenging one, so stay tuned for that one.